that's plenty good enough. If I had one of these when I started and I didn't wear it out, I'll probably still have one.
G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here, and today, well, we're going to be going through, and I'm pretty does anyone else do that with their radios? Just do that on the sticks all the time. We're going to be going through, and I might have an extremely extremely unpopular opinion when it comes to this radio. What this is the Frsky Tyrannus X9 Lite, and I'm getting a bit confused between the names too, with like the X Lites, X9 Lites, X Lites, XS. Anyway, there's a lot of radios out there. This is the new one from Frsky, and in my recent reviews, if you want to go watch these cards, I pretty much tried the X Lite Pro, and it was complete junk. I could not get mine to work whatsoever. I updated the module, the firmware, the receivers, everything like that. I changed all the settings inside the menus. It just did not work, and I really love the X Lites. Like, it's what I use all the time to fly. That's the little one that looks like an Xbox controller, and pretty much the new one I was super excited for, and it was just turned out to be junk. And I was like, people, don't buy this one. I'm having a terrible time of mine. I'm not a fan whatsoever. This turned up, and everybody seemed to be hating on it with the Access firmware, all that sort of stuff, and I gotta say, I wasn't a fan at first, but since then, I have been using this radio, and this is where it might be a little bit unpopular. I kind of really like it. I mean, for the price and what it does, I know everybody was ragging on the Frsky and jumping on and hating them quite a lot, but I gotta say, I kind of like it, what this one's doing and the things you can do with it. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna find out, is this a good beginner radio? We're gonna quickly break it down, sort of look at what it does. I mean, it's just a radio, but we'll talk about some of the special features. And then the important part, we're gonna go out to the field, we're gonna give it in the hands of some old people like Grumpy Trev. We'll see what some of the other crew think about it. We'll fly around with it and find out, how does this radio actually go? What's it like? And I gotta say, I'm really happy that the new firmware works with the original XM Pluses, because I have so many of them. That was one of the big reasons I didn't like the new updated radios, but this one with the firmware, it works. And we've also got the updated one with some better gimbals in here, because there's two versions, so we're gonna put them, I'll link them down below. But let's do it. Kick it off, have a look at some of this radio's features, find out, is this going to be a good beginner radio? Because I'm going to say straight off the bat, spoiler alert, I do like it. I think it's worth the money, and if you want to get into the hobby, this is an absolutely fantastic radio to think of that's going to be future-proofing yourself. You can use this for a lot of time. You can use this for a long time, and you might not need to ever upgrade unless you want to go to Crossfire or something like that. But as it stands, this is a pretty cool little radio as far as I'm concerned. So let's kick it off, look at some of its features. Now, there's two versions, and I did get it wrong in this video. I think I told Trev it was like 60 bucks. But I was greatly mistaken. I think at the price, it might be like $90 or something like that. So you're gonna need to take that into consideration when watching the rest of this review. I got the original price wrong when I first got this. It turns out it's changed, or I don't even know what I was thinking. I had the price wrong when I was talking to Trevor. So you can check the links down below as it currently stands, but it might be around the $100 mark. But what we've got the upgraded version, which comes from the UAV. You can see up the top there, it's got some Hall effect gimbals in here. It's just like your original Tyrannus radios, your X9Ds and all that sort of stuff, and except it's a little bit smaller, so it's going to fit in your hands a little bit better. If you're pinching, it's more than fine. You can see in the roof cam, it's not too bad to reach all the sticks. And if you're thumbing, I should say, and also if you're pinching, which I don't usually pinch to fly, but look, it seems more than adequate. The gimbals feel very, very smooth. Flipping around, you have a few less switches, so there's no sliders or anything like that. So on the side, it might not be quite as nice for wing pilots out there. You've pretty much just got what you need for drone pilots. So you've got a couple of switches up the top. You've only got one pot on here, so here we go. We've got a momentary switch, we've got a 2-position switch, 3-position switch, a pot, 3-position switch, and another 3-position switch. Now, something that does bug me here, this is the one I always use for ARM on all my models. Now I'm gonna have to take this apart and try and switch those around, because that's the one I wanna have as my ARM switch. It's just what I've been used to, so it's annoying me that that's where the momentary switch is. I wish the momentary switch was one of these other ones. Anyway, now if we look towards the middle, of course we've got our trims, we've got our on-off button, we can hold this down to turn it on. Yeah, everything else is pretty sort of standard. Everything else is pretty set standard. Throttle's not idle, switch is not down, thank you very much. And also we've got a couple little jacks underneath, so we've got like our headphones, SD ports, USBs, all that sort of stuff you can see there. What I do like is that it runs on some 18650s. So I've got two 18650s right there. I think that is a fantastic solution, so you should be getting a lot of radio use time. And then if we go into the menu, and something I really did like, let's have a look at this one. So I've got it set up for a plane on this one. just how quickly you can scroll through things using this little scroll wheel right here. So I really think that's even better than the circle wheel that they used to have on the original QX7. So I really, really like this wheel right here. And other than that, everything else is pretty standard. Now, one part I should go down and show you is, where are we? How far have I gone? Here we go. So this bit, the mode select here, so you can see this is one part that didn't used to be in the original firmwares. It drove me nuts. When you go to select here, you can either choose whether you want to use access mode or the access firmware, but they've also got access D16. So if you've got some XM pluses or some old receiver units out there that you want to use, like me, I have like probably, I don't know, 40 receivers, XM pluses. They've been the ones I used for the longest time. This can still bind up to it, which is absolutely fantastic. That's what I didn't like about the original one, because it would just drive me absolutely bonkers. I couldn't stand it. It wouldn't bind up to any of my old radios. It was only the brand new receivers with the new receiver protocols flashed to them. That part was really, really stupid by Frsky. So look, anyway, that's it on the bench. That's the boring stuff. Let's go out to the field, fly around. But as an overview, I like what it does. I like its form factor. I like its price, and I like now it can bind up to our old radio, old receivers, I should say. And if you want to get a radio that's going to last you, it's using the Frsky link, which is very, very, I guess, a strong, reliable link. A lot of people use it, unless you want to use Crossfire, which is a totally different kettle of fish we'll talk about in another video. But that's it on the bench. Let's go out, find out how it actually goes in some pilots' hands and what they think when they're flying this thing around. So let's do it and go have some fun with the boys in 3, 2, 1. Radio out here in the field. Let's do it, have some fun. We've seen it on the bench. Now let's put it through its paces in the field and find out what's it like in your hands. Is this good? Is this a good beginner radio? I'll give you my impression. So we'll hand it over to long range trainer. We've got Grumpy Trev as well, and we'll find out, you know, is this a good radio and is it worth picking up? All right, let's do it. Got some crazy wing action and drone action everywhere too in the background. Radio, so let's do it. First impressions in the hand, it is very light. I do like the gimbals. I think if you're going to pinch, I don't want to do too many stick commands, but if you're going to pinch or thumb, it's going to suit you very well. I prefer the X-Lite style, but I mean, I think if you want a smaller radio that's not that sort of game controller style, this is a bit more traditional. This is going to serve you pretty well. I like all the switches, all that sort of stuff, but now the main part, if we don't get smashed into the head by some wings and some planes and quads, let's put it through its paces and find out how it actually feels when you're flying it around on the sticks. All right, I do wish that this one was not a, I don't know, like I know that's a momentary, but that's normally my arm switch, so that's a little bit frustrating. All right, now I haven't done any adjustments, so it's a little bit, almost crashed into somebody. It's a little bit stiffer than what I normally fly with. I do like the stick tension, I should say, but it feel on the throttle, but the pitch and roll is a little bit stiffer than what I'm normally used to. Well, there's a wing there, I should be able to chase that. Trevor's gonna be following me flying around as well, I think. How was that, Trevor? I think I just photo bombed or video bombed Trevor's video because he was filming chasing a wing. Anyway, back to this radio. It's definitely comfortable in my hands. I like it. It's very light. I don't think I'd be taking it over my X-Lite because look, preference definitely accounts for a lot of stuff in this hobby, and especially when you've got a radio, that's the one thing you want to get right and used to, and something you use every day. You don't want to chop and change, but I mean, for the money, I'm getting some good range. I'm not doing any fail safes or anything like that. Let's take it out a little bit more. Yeah, so the range, it doesn't seem to be getting any issues whatsoever. Feels good on the sticks. One thing I can notice over my X-Lite is because the gimbals are bigger, I guess you have more, I don't know if resolution is the word, like with how far you can throw the sticks from left to right. Look at that for skill. That's just such a stable quad. But I notice if I want to do a quick roll, I've got to move my thumb a lot further than on my X-Lite. Now that might be a good thing or a bad thing depending on how you want to fly. If you're a real twitch reflex sort of flyer, you might prefer a smaller, I guess like an X-Lite style. But if you have maybe some larger hands or you prefer that little bit of extra, not grace, but that extra travel, this one's going to be much more suited to you. But overall, if someone said to me, Stuart, you can only ever fly with this radio, that definitely wouldn't be a bad thing. I've flown a lot worse in the past. It feels great in the hands. I like the price. I'm not having any problems. It runs OpenTX. Yeah, I think definitely. And now that it can connect up to the like D16 XM pluses and stuff like that, it's going to be, it is great. So if you're going to get a cheap radio, this is definitely an option to consider. There's Trevor, going to buzz him. I'm going to get your wing, Tony. Oh, I went for it. Did you see me? Where are you? I'm coming. You sure? Are you line of sight? Alright, I'm getting low battery, you bugger. Alright, I'm bringing it in. Alright, I do not like the arm switch in my not normal position, but I guess you could take it apart and change that quite easily. Overall impressions, I like it. I definitely think value for money is right up there, but let's hand it over to Grumpy Trev, Long Range Tony, see what they think as well. Right here. So Tony, so this is the new little Tyrannus Lite, pretty much first impressions. This is also one with the upgraded gimbals. They've got one that's even cheaper with, I guess, some non-full effect gimbals. But yep.
My first impression is it's smaller than my current Tyrannus. It feels very plasticky, like a cheap plastic. However, I do like the roller. I think that's something that the new Tyrannus or the old Tyrannus could probably take from those, is getting away from the 6 buttons. Yep. Like, I think that's a nice progression.
I think the cheap one's like $60.
This?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a significant improvement on there.
that one might be actually up around the $90. Yeah. I put it on the screen, but last time I checked, yeah. Versus how much was your one?
That was probably Aussie dollars 300, maybe 340.
Yeah, so about 250 US, yep.
So, yeah, but look, it does feel cheap, I'll say that. You can't put a module in the back from what I can see.
You can't put a JR module.
You can't put a JR module in.
Can you pop that?
Yeah, so we can pop the...
Yeah, like the same as the X-Lite modules and stuff like that.
So like... Don't need that. Oh, I've done something in here as well. No, but look, it's... For the money, I think it's got the functionality that you need. It's got a few less switches. There's two missing switches, and there's 2 sliders in here. There's 1 pop missing there. But you know, for someone that wants to have a radio that's got a few more bells and whistles, a few more switches, it runs the OpenTX firmware. I think, you know, this is good. Like, for $60. How can you go wrong? Couple that with a pair of cheap, you know, reflector goggles, and yeah, home and hose.
All right, let's take it for a fly. I want to know your impressions on the sticks. That one.
Yeah, I mean, I fly with quite stiff sticks, which makes this feel a bit different. But to be honest, now I'm flying it, although it's a little bit narrower in my hands than my current Tyrannus, I'd say it doesn't feel a lot different. You know, once your goggles are down, you'd be hard pushed to know you're flying something that's, you know, a quarter of the price.
So it doesn't feel as cheap when you fly?
Nah, not at all. It certainly doesn't feel cheap. Like I say, the tactility, if that's even a word, it's not as tactile as my other one. It just feels like it's a cheap body to the transmitter.
Cheap plastic.
Cheap plastic. But that aside, if you just feel the feel of the gimbals, for what is a fairly cheap transmitter, these gimbals feel good. You know, it's I actually like them more than the what was the other transmitter that we used to use, the cheap one?
Evo?
The Evolution, yeah. These gimbals feel much better, I think, than the Evolution.
Well, these are the upgraded version of the gimbals. So there's a cheaper version as well, which is just standard ones.
So these feel really good. I like them. I'd have no issues flying around with this.
All right, who do you think this is made for?
Made for someone who is cost conscious, who wants to have, I guess, some of the advantages of having OpenTX, and having Frsky, not being on FL Sky. So yeah, this is good for $60. You really can't go wrong. Oh yeah, I'm just enjoying it now. Yeah, I reckon I get used to this quite easily. It's there's nothing really to get used to though, because it just feels like a good transmitter. Like you certainly, if you went and spent your own money on this, you know, you're a kid, you've saved up some pocket money, you spent $60, you wouldn't be disappointed in the slightest. This is a good investment for a starter, I reckon.
Do you reckon you'd need to upgrade?
No, to be honest, I don't think so. Not unless you want to, you know, fly fixed wing and have, you know, cargo bay doors and bomb bay doors and all that other shit going on.
To be honest, I actually reckon you have enough switches to do that stuff.
Yeah.
How many more switches do you need to do that?
No.
You got some pots to open it, an arm switch mode.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, you don't.
But for drone racing, absolutely, you got more than you need.
You got more than you need.
Too easy. All right, mate.
Yeah. All right.
Sum it up.
Sum it up. A great starter transmitter, perfect for someone that wants to get into the hobby and have something that feels really good.
All right, nice. Thank you. Okie dokie, Trev. So today we got our little Tyrannus Lite, a little pretty much budget version from Frsky. This is the upgraded one with some gimbals. First impressions before you take it out, rip it around.
It looks like a Tyrannus.
It does.
Feels like a Tyrannus. Wow. Well, it looks good. How much is it?
I think that one's about 90 bucks. There might also be a 60 buck version as well.
It's cheap, isn't it? Mm.
No, and I haven't adjusted the gimbals or anything like that.
No,
so.
well, they certainly need adjusting, but
A little bit stiff in its
yeah, just a bit
parts?
stiff,
Yeah.
but feels like a Tyrannus, so it's good. They haven't changed much by the look of it. It's the same size.
No, it's a bit smaller.
Yeah. It's not too small, because some of them are just cramp you up. Oh, we'll give it a go, see what it's like.
All right. And I know I've got a 4S pack on a 6S battery, but anyway,
Yeah,
we're more talking about the radio.
well, it just feels like a Tyrannus. It just feels a bit stiff, the gimbals, that's all. But look, it's just like putting a glove on when you're flying a Tyrannus, to be honest. It feels the same. It's responsive, works okay. For someone getting into it, it's pretty cheap. You know, you got cheap receivers and everything.
And
Can't believe
they've fixed the firmware up too now, so it actually does buy into your old school XM pluses and stuff.
Oh, that's good. Look, geez, I can fly with this. Just have to adjust the gimbals because they're way too tight stock, but it feels great. A fair way out, so as far as what we'd fly normally.
No fail safes?
Nah, nothing. It's great. I can't believe they're doing one for this price. You know, it's strange because they're competing against themselves. So they've already got some great radios at some pretty good prices. I suppose they're trying to compete with some of the cheaper ones on the market, which they're doing a good job of so far. Yeah, look, I like it. It feels good. It's I'm not excited about it, but I reckon it's great to be able to see people get into FPV now, especially some of the goggles we've just done, like that, whatever you call that thing. Plus this makes it for a cheap package, doesn't it, to get into it. If you don't want to spend a fortune, it's nothing wrong with it. It's great. It's flying okay. Like I said, to me, it just feels like my other Tyrannuses. So, yep.
Except it's cheap.
Yeah.
Does the plastic feel any different? Tony said he felt like the plastic felt a bit cheaper than his special edition.
Nah, not really. It's just plastic. Plastic's plastic, isn't it? No. Look, it's just got to be comfortable in your hands, and it's comfortable. As I said, the only thing I do is just adjust the gimbals, you know, just repeat myself. That's it. It just feels really, really good.
Yeah, it doesn't take a JR module in the back, which has been a standard for a long time. That's something to probably note.
It does take the small one though, doesn't it?
It takes like the ones of the
Yeah, well,
X9s or whatever.
That's no big deal, because who's going to use a JR module now? You're going to go for the X9s anyway, and I don't think that's an issue. It still allow you to go to the R9M modules, so yeah, that's a great. I'm surprised that feature's actually built into it. There you go.
Yep. Okay, so performance out of 10?
Look, 10, absolutely 10, and value. It's absolutely value for money. I'll give that a 10 as well. So yeah, I'm excited for the people that want to get into it now for the price. It's really great now to get a quality product at that sort of money.
All right, nice. Thanks, Trev.
Don't feel cramped with this at all. I really like it. Yeah, it's great value. I mean, if you're getting into it, guys, you can't go wrong. That's really good value.
Okay. Do you reckon you need to upgrade? There's a good one. Would it be worth saving up to get something else, or?
The only flying quads? No, not. You know, if you're going to fly wings or something, maybe, but that's plenty good enough. If I had one of these when I started and I didn't wear it out, I'll probably still have one.
Okay.
That's great.
All right. Thanks, old man. Rightio, so there it is. There's my review of the Frsky X9, like whatever this is, because there's so many different versions. But I'm going to link it down below, as well as, because I've got the upgraded one with the Hall effect gimbals, as well as the base version. And sorry about the price confusion. Definitely check those. I think they're around like the $90 mark, maybe a little bit more for this one with these upgraded gimbals. And overall, it's a great radio. I really like it. I didn't like Frsky whatsoever when it came to the new X-Lite Pros that they're doing. I thought they were junk, and I did not expect to like this thing. So it might be a little bit an unpopular. Everyone was sort of hating on Frsky for a little while. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I do like this radio, and I think if you want to get in, it's a great beginner radio. You're not going to outgrow it. You could more than happily use this thing for a long time to come. Many years, get many hours of flight through this thing. It's going to do everything you want it to do, especially if you're just a drone pilot out there. Wings, you might want a little bit more of an advanced radio, but if you're just looking to doing some FPV racing, I think this thing is going to suit people for a long way, and just give them a lot of flight time to come. So anyway, what do you guys think? Drop your comments down below. I'm so happy they finally fixed up their internal module and all that sort of stuff, so it combined up to my old receivers. Other than that, subscribe for more FPV related content. Tune in tomorrow so you can see me waving my arms around a little bit more. And as always, happy updating your film. No. And as always, happy flying.